All right, guys. Copper Cutlass here. It is Thirsty Thursday. You see, I got my beer here, but it's been a very, very long day for me. Woke up at 4 in the morning ish to take my wife to the airport. She's out of town, so I kind of got a free weekend. But it's not as exciting as you would think. It's gonna be hotter than shit, and I got a couple things I'm gonna do here and there. But really, just getting everything together. So let me take a sip here. All right. It's been a really long day. Have I said that? It's been like in 90s and humid, and I worked like 11 hours or something with the ridiculous heat. I really can't complain, but I am just exhausted. So either way, before I bitch too long and sound whiny, so as you can see, we got our 350 here. I'm going to pop off the one piston, and I'm going to deliver the block to the machinist with a crank in it bolted down just for safety purposes. I mean, like, what better scenario could you have delivering the crank and the block together without it fearing rolling around in your car? So either way, big announcement that I mentioned in the other video that you guys probably saw with the montage of the car. I did that just for giggles and share the history of my car, which I actually drove to work today, which, again, I don't have that very short of a drive, but usually when I go out for lunch, I'll take it down and just cruise it around during lunch, 20, 30 minutes or whatever, but it's nice to take it out. Even though it was hot, this car always keeps its cool. So, so I got my main bearings, I got cam bearings. I'm going to continue to use the King bearings. My rods are here. I am going to deliver the rods with the bearings in there. I marked them off which ones were which. I told them I was going to measure stuff out just to know where it's at. I have my balancer, my flex plate, which is like a Mondello, I think, like high inertia flex plate. This thing is heavy, but it'll help with RPM. I think that's all I really have to take to him. I got the intake there, which I have to pull out and port. We'll go over that. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to open it up and probably at the bends open it up as much as I can and just slightly. I know that to go all out and proper, you have to go way in there and open it up. But I'm not just going to open up the opening. I'm going to open up further into the runner before the bends. It's about as much as I really want to do. So we got our heads. And then, so obviously you guys saw our number. What number was this? Number 6 piston was pretty sorry looking, man. And the odd part is that it's on the non-load side of the engine. So like as the piston's going up, this side's the side that really gets pushed into the cylinder wall. This is the side that comes back. So I don't know. This is, and I cleaned this up a little bit to see how bad it was, and it really sat uneasy with me. So what I was going to do is I was going to bank on this and get new rods and new pistons. And I talked to an old vendor. Some of you guys might know him, Cutlass CFI. He's got a pretty good selection of Oldsmobile parts. And the price was actually really good. For the rods, it was going to be all in under like $1,300 delivered, which is a really good deal. But honestly, for this build, I don't want to do that. I'm going to save that money and I'm going to put it into this engine when the time comes. This will eventually be a stroker. And I'll tell you guys, I'm at the point in my life where I have less and less time and I really just want to go out and race. So I want to build a bulletproof, reliable engine. The 350 Olds by design is really, it's pretty low maintenance if you're going to be racing it. It's not that bad depending on what you're going to do. It's got its limitations, but we've been beaten on this thing. It's got about 100 passes, probably not nearly as much passes as diehard bracket racers, and it's got a lot of street miles. I do drive it on the street, and that counts for a lot. Most of my street driving is 3,000 RPM and above. So this engine's been a very, very good engine to me it's been 2-3 years. I think the year before I got married, almost 3, yeah. So I got it running the year before I got married. So yeah, it's been 3 years. I didn't actually race it until the year after. So it's got 2 years of racing, which actually comes out to be 3 seasons, depending on how you look at the overlap, including this year, which we still plan on going out. Probably in July, we're going to start hitting the track again. Probably go out to a few bracket races. So either way, this is going to be a stroker. I'm going to use the same heads, the same intake, because I have money. My buddy's got time into them, and they're really good working pieces. And I really want the stroker because I want this thing to make the same power that it's making now at a lower RPM. So I'm talking about stressing the engine less, working the valves less, just everything all across the board is going to work a lot less. But if we want to go out and turn the wick up, we know that we can make this thing run faster. So that's my goal. Obviously, with the stroker setup, you're going to be adding a better crank, better rods, lighter pistons. It's going to be, I mean, this engine already has light pistons, but we got stock rods and stock crank. And for what it is, this engine's been very, very good. I got some questionable components in there. And this engine also started life as kind of a budget build. Just I had some really nice pieces to start with. So what I ended up going with is I did buy new pistons. I got the Speed Pro pistons because, well, they've gotten really cheap. These were about $355, which is, they're dated. They're a little heavy, but they work. We know for aftermarket pistons, the Speed Pro line is going to have the correct pin height, which is a big plus because any of you who've built an Oldsmobile engine using aftermarket pistons, the pin height is usually horribly off, and you end up sitting like 45 thousandths in the hole. We covered this a couple years ago on that 350 I built for my friend. So it could use a little bit of cleaning. I'm going to take these to the machine shop, and if he feels that I can, I want to just deburr these a little bit. They're a little, they got some casting flaws, you can see. But overall, these are nice pieces. They're forged, $355. They're not the best, but they will work. And this is all people had for a long time unless you got a custom piston. So for the average guy, this is probably what a lot of guys used. And obviously, I'm not going to be using these, but we're going to hang on to them. They might work for some other build down the road. Who the hell knows? We are sketchy like that. Or maybe somebody needs a couple of single pistons. And the difference is, this is the same part number, but this has that divot. These don't. So this is why, I actually had this conversation with JJ about them being flat tops, and I'm like, it's the same part number, so I don't know if it depends on runs or where they were made, or if they use that as a centering point for the machining, when you put it on the lathe. Don't know what the case is there. But either way, we're all set to take stuff. Actually, no, I need to put this with my stuff because I want to take this to the machinist to show him what it looks like when you got piston to wall clearances of less than 4 thousandths with these pistons, because this is what happened here, guys. This engine didn't have very many miles. They got really scuffed up, and that's not good. So, Speed Pro recommends 2 to 2.5, I think, and this is just, it's uncalled for. So we need to pump up those numbers because those are rookie numbers, and we need to step them up to 5 thousandths piston to wall. Some might say that's a little bit too much. Go to 4, but you know what? We're racing this thing, so we'll go to 5 because loosey-goosey makes good power, less drag, less everything, right? So, and I am going to check the rings, and, if I have to file them down, God damn it, I keep putting this in the wrong spot. So either way, you guys can see that, we're getting there. We're going to take this to the machine shop, get everything ready, and I pretty much got everything. After this, I need an oil pump, the pickup, which I have things lined up for that. They are used, but they were blueprinted by an Oldsmobile guy who is very well respected. I'm not going to say any names. He's helped me out a lot in the past with advice, and especially carburetor advice, but either way, he blueprinted the pump, came out of a big block that went south, so I just need to clean it, check the pickup, make sure there's no cracks in the welds, make sure the distance from the pan to the pickup or whatever is correct on our Moroso pan. Make sure our Moroso pan does not leak as well. And push rods. I mean, really, we have everything. And I am going to break it down. I'm going to make the list of what everything has ran us so far, parts-wise, cost-wise. This is a budget build. I still think this engine is probably going to run us all together somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $3,500 all said and done with the accumulated value of all these things. Clearly, we acquired and we traded and stuff, but I'm going to put a honest value on things here. So, yeah, we'll get that together for you guys, and hopefully you guys stick around and you guys are following. We got this thing on the mend, and hopefully it works out. Now, another thing, I keep forgetting to mention shit. This video is already running long. I did manage to pull out the oil restrictors out of the lifter feed bores. I'm going to have to stick them back in because the holes were drilled to a much bigger size, and that'll create loss of oil pressure. But I have to drill these out to 60 thousandths. They're pretty small right now. And for the street, you don't want to starve your lifters that much. I mean, perhaps at a race, you're fine if short amount of time, but we got to do that. And we're going to go ahead and leave the main bearing restrictors of the cam. That's a common one. Doesn't really hurt anything from my research. And I asked people, I asked around at my reputable source of info forum. Now, the thing is, if you run restrictors, you do have to open up the bearings. That is very, very crucial. So, yeah, we got to do that too. But again, small stuff, and we'll get it on the mend. So we'll let you guys go. Share, like, subscribe. I'm sorry, haven't been doing that a whole lot, but when this engine comes together, we're going to put it together with that transmission. The only thing I'm going to do to that transmission is put a reverse manual valve body on it because I'm so used to it now that may as well put one in. So, and that one's got the nice Ultra Bell and everything on it. So, see you guys around.